Hey everyone, it's Ted, the Buffalo Beauty Boy, and today I have a very different video than typical. I'm filming a little bit more casually. I'm in my living room, I'm on my couch, and so if the lighting is weird, that's why. I have like one closed because it was like backlit and a lot, and then one open, so this is like as close to like natural lighting as I can get. But it's a very gloomy day here. But I'm filming a video that I've wanted to make for a really long time, and I touched on it in my last video, but I completed my no buy challenge, my no shopping challenge. So I am going to be answering some questions that I kind of took from my Instagram stories. I asked if you guys had any questions over on Instagram, and there were some really great answers. So I tried to kind of call the ones that I felt like would do this justice. But I also wanted to kind of talk about my no buy and what I did. Also, I think if you're on Instagram, you know, but we got a new cat, and his name is Cassius, and he's a sweetie. He's right here. Do you want to say hi? This is my baby boy Cassius, and we adopted him, so there was no shopping involved, right? So yeah, if you hear rustling about, that's why. I wanted to kind of do a bit of an introduction to my no buy, because I feel like there's so many different pathways that people take in the no buy community. So many more people that have channels entirely dedicated to conscious consumerism and minimalism and no buy, low buy content. It's a facet of what I hope this channel grows to be, but it is not at all what I specialize in. I do try to be a mindful consumer. I have certain things that I'm really passionate about, and I do think that kind of shows in my day-to-day life, but I am not at all a minimalist. I am not at all somebody that is a no-buy aficionado, but I do enjoy that sort of content, and I think it's something beautiful to aspire to. Everybody kind of has their different reasons for starting a no-buy challenge, and a lot of them I find, especially on YouTube, are people being very transparent about debt and money and things like that, over shopping, overspending, to the point that it's hurting them. That is not me. I am very financially literate and financially conscious. I do love the shopping experience, and I love the thrill of the hunt, I would say, but I have never wrecked my finances shopping. I don't have significant debt. My student loans are very modest for a myriad of reasons, and I'm very lucky because of that. But I'm not somebody that has ever racked up a credit card with thousands of dollars on beauty and baubles and clothes and shoes. That's just not who I am. I'm not being disrespectful to people that find themselves in that situation, but that was not a massive factor of my decision to do a significant no buy. The biggest factor was that as much as I love going shopping, curating my cart, acquiring a new sweet little treat, I also really love cherishing what I have and the idea of less but better. And I just found myself kind of in a rat race between summer and the holidays of just shopping for sport. And I didn't love that. That's not the person that I wanted to be. And I turned 30, and I really had a very serious discussion with myself about what I want and how I want to enter my 30s differently than my 20s. For me, I decided that I was going to take a break from shopping. I was going to do a no buy from January 1st to April 1st. I decided that I would be able to shop for groceries, but I would not be able to shop for anything that was not a complete essential or a replacement for something that I had no seconds of. So throughout that time, I placed 2 orders that were online for anything beauty, cosmetic, fashion, anything like that. One of them was like I ran out of my eye cream, and I did some research. I found one singular eye cream that I wanted to try, and I had no other eye creams in my house. So I chose to purchase an eye cream. That was about 6 weeks into my no buy. And I don't feel like that was bad because I had spent a month and a half not shopping after work or on the weekend or anything like that. I was just getting my groceries, coming home, reading books, watching movies, spending time with my family. So those were the parameters of my no buy. Now let's get into the questions. The first question is, what was the easiest part and what was the hardest part? I would say the easiest part was deciding that I was going to do a no buy. I have participated in them like month long, kind of all throughout my 20s, but I knew that I really wanted to do something significant, and that was the easiest part for me. I would say the hardest part was that endless scroll on the internet of shopping when you're bored or you have downtime. It was that quick dopamine hit of, oh, commercial break, time to check my email, find a sale, see what's up. That I think was the hardest part for me. The second question is, how much do you think you saved and did you miss getting a little treat? So I would say I'm going to answer that in reverse. Did I miss getting a little treat? I'm personally going to say no, because I did not include like food, going out to lunch, stuff like that, because I am a small business. I'm also a foodie, and I really enjoy that experience. So I made the conscious decision that if I was going to go out to eat, I was going to go to a small business, not a chain. So I could still meet a friend for coffee and read my book for an hour and enjoy that. And that is my like little treat, not something silly from the Target $1 bin. And then in terms of how much do I think I saved, that's a tough question because, as I said, I wasn't really doing this for necessarily financial health, although that absolutely was a side effect of this. What I would say is, if you watched my last video, just my kind of life update, you know that I had a hell of a start to the year. So I had to pay my deductible for my car insurance. I had several vet bills, and then I had to put my previous cat down. So between my husband and I, we were kind of splitting things, but that was definitely a financial tug that detracted from my savings. But I would say, if I really want to talk about numbers in an abstract sense, I probably saved about $2,000 over the course of that 3 months, like in my account. So keep in mind, like, I did have some financial drains, but nothing too severe, but that wasn't really why I did it. I did absolutely see some growth in my bank account. The third question is, how did you hold yourself accountable? And the short answer is other people. So I don't really talk a lot about my goals with people, be them fitness, health, money, close life goals, stuff like that. I don't really talk about that a lot just because I tend to share a lot of myself, but I do kind of keep that stuff more internal. So this was something that I included people in. I told my husband, obviously, and he's not a shopper whatsoever. So for him, he was supportive, but he could go months and months without, you know, going for clothes or anything like that. So I told him, and he was really supportive. But then I also told my friends and my clients and people in my life and my family. And knowing that they were kind of in on it was the like, you know, Ted, you are just getting groceries. You don't need a replacement of something. So you're not shopping. You're done. That's it. Go home. Call your friends. Do something. That was the biggest thing, was just including other people in the process. This was a really great question that I thought a lot about, and I have it written down exactly. So the question was, how do you overall feel about the power of that choice and the magnitude of it for yourself? And I would say it was incredible. I, being in the beauty industry, being somebody that actively consumes fashion, beauty, lifestyle content, there is so much pressure for the next best thing and to shop and to find and to partake in that. So the magnitude of my decision to not shop for 3 months felt astronomical. There's some people that might sound easy, but I am somebody that loved to shop. So for me, it was one of the most massive things that I've ever done. And in the midst of everything that I had going on in the beginning of the year, that happened after I made the decision to not shop for 3 months. I was talking with a friend. There's thunder. I was talking with a friend, and he said, you know, it's amazing that you've had all of this stuff going on and simultaneously took away like our American society like fastest dopamine hit. And that's when it really kind of clicked. That was about 2 months in, and we just had a beautiful conversation, and it just really affirmed what I was doing. I don't know if that quite answers the question, but I think it kind of gets everything across. And then I have 2 questions left. The second to last question is, do you think you'll do a no buy in the future? And the answer is absolutely yes. I 100% see myself participating in no buys in the future. I'm already thinking about it. I've had about a month of, well, I'm filming this on like April 22nd, 21st. So I've had about 3 weeks of like a shopping season, and I have a couple trips coming up. And I am ready to not shop. I don't know. It really absolutely rewired my brain that way. So I will definitely be participating in no buy challenges in the future. This ties into my answer just now. The last question is, how do you think it will change your shopping habits for the future? I am just so much more mindful of the stuff that I want to buy. I'm not running to the store after a busy work week to just buy something to fill the void. I'm really trying to be exhaustive of what I already have in my home. Is there something that I have that I know I can use to make this work before I have to go buy something? And I just kind of don't want to. I actually went to a big department store today, this morning, and I was like overwhelmed. I was annoyed. I just didn't love it. Majority of the shopping that I did when my no buy ended was online, and I don't love shopping online, but it was sort of out of necessity. So I definitely think that it changed my shopping habits. I'm just so much more mindful, and I don't want to lose that. So I will be participating in a no buy coming up. That's maybe going to be 6 weeks, not a full 12. But just to kind of have that as a really solid cornerstone of my shopping habits and practices is something that I'm really proud of. Know that this video was kind of different from what I normally do. I didn't really talk about beauty. I didn't show anything or apply anything, and I'm sitting on my couch. And I know that this video might not be for everyone, but this is the kind of stuff that I've been watching a ton of lately. So I just wanted to make this and share the beginning of my journey with you. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And I would love to hear in the comments if you have ever participated in a no buy or if you plan to, and what are some tips that you used or plan to use for your no buy. I can't thank you guys enough for coming to hang out. I appreciate it so much. As a small content creator, it means the world that people care what I have to say, and I love talking in the comments with you here and on Instagram. So please know from the bottom of my heart, it means so much. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you're having a nice day. I hope that you're taking care of yourselves. And most importantly, I hope you remember that you're made of gold.